What is going on, Exiles? It is FX Killer here, and yes, I'm still playing, not making too many videos. There hasn't been a lot going on, but there was a great dev stream yesterday, February 2nd. So I'm going to just break into them, sort of give an analysis, breakdown, a little bit of personal commentary, and maybe some predictions. But it should be good. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Right away, we can see that the HUD has been updated. We now have a very large health bar, and we also have quite a large stamina bar, as it's been sort of universally recognized those are the most important things now. The enemies also get this hit bar if you hit them, which is great. So you have sort of a knowledge of how much health they have left, finally. And there's also a hurt stance visual if a player is injured. Additionally, stamina regens much faster. You're going to have a much quicker stamina regen if you stop and let it regen, and if you run out, it's still pretty quick, but you can't do anything in that meantime. Additionally, all cooked food now heals, and that's great to hear. We really needed that. There's also a perk that lets you eat foods that are uncooked. As far as perks, they're completely revamping the attribute system. All of the attributes are now going to have sort of a perk or milestone system where you can unlock special abilities or effects or that kind of thing if you have enough points in the skill. What does that mean? Well, agility is no longer useless. In fact, I think it's going to be pretty darn good, as well as survival. Stay tuned for another video where I'm going to actually break down these new attribute trees and give recommendations, and it's going to be good, so just stay tuned for that, but I want to get through these dev notes. The other huge thing here is weapons and melee combat has been completely redone from the ground up. First off, all weapons now have new attack animations, and that sort of restricts the hack and slash gameplay, and so as a result of that, they've re-enabled sprinting with weapons and shields, because of attack animations, you can't really run in circles and swing on people anymore. There's light and heavy attack chains up to 4. You get status effects like cripple, knockdown from landing combos. You can mix and match light and heavy attacks, and all weapons even have their own sprint animations. Additionally, weapons have hit stun now, which is that short window where your character's recovering from a hit, and you can kind of stun lock people if you get in there right. Dodge is revamped. It can cancel attacks in the middle of them. It costs a little more, but it can get you out of really sticky situations. And the knockdown system has been revamped, which dodge also can dodge. It could before too, but apparently they've redone it in a different way. Dodge also works if you're knocked down, so you don't have to be standing to dodge. And they've also introduced target lock, and we'll have to see about this one, because I don't like target lock. I think it's a bad mechanic. It kind of trivializes the combat and makes the attack animations that they've worked so hard on kind of pointless when someone can just log on and run at the person. Additionally, if you're shooting at somebody, the arrows or javelins or whatever will shoot where that person was when you have locked on, so you don't even actually have to aim a ranged weapon with a target lock. So I expect to see some changes with that. Weapons also have different purposes now. One-hand swords are good for cripples and knockdowns. One-hand maces are good for shield punctures. One-hand axes are also good through shields. And any one-handed weapon that's not using a shield can do a kick. Now, two-hand weapons can also kick through shields. So basically, anybody who's not wearing a shield can kick. But the one-hand weapons with no shield can also kick. Now you also have the two-hand spear that's going to have a very nice range of bleed in and knockdown. The two-hand greatsword, slow, hard hitting, and it does have good animation canceling. And then also hammers. Well, the hammer's always been good, but now the hammer has a very slow animation, but there's windows in between where you can chain your attacks fast or slow to kind of bait people. And attacks from the hammer cannot be interrupted, which they're calling hyper armor. And the hammer applies sunder up to 5 times, which reduces your armor, I'm guessing about 10% per affliction. Ouch. And the hammer can kind of launch and smack people down in the air for style points. Pretty cool. Along with all those, they're redoing sort of the shield-ish deal. There's no parrying. but you can interrupt with hit stuns, and you can block, of course, and you can dodge. That being said, daggers are now dual wield only, and they apply bleeds with the first 3 heavy attacks, with a cripple finisher. Now you can't block or kick while you have daggers, but you can sort of backflip away, which is kind of cool. Nice little flair that they add in. And then you can also, I think you could do this before, but you can cripple people with a javelin or arrow to the back of the legs. As far as bows, crossbows are actually removed completely until they're fixed. There was a lot of exploits, and I know that that's something they wanted to get rid of. So until they're fixed, they're not coming back. That being said, bows do track, like I said. They're really unchanged besides that. They also mentioned that many weapons are doing too much armor penetration, and so we're going to be expecting some reductions. Now, as far as monsters and AI, monsters, as far as, wolves, bears, whatnot, they can have no interruptions when they're attacking you, which is kind of scary. And they can also do special attacks, which we weren't really filled in on completely. That's meanwhile, our new animations are sort of Terra or Blade and Soul style, so you're always pressing forward against them, which is good for landing your attacks, but it's also good for them. The AI also uses light and heavy combats now, which is kind of scary because they're already pretty difficult, and this is just going to make them harder, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just a thing. They'll also try to bait you out with hammers, like I discussed earlier, and you could see in the video. Harvesting tools have been improved. We now have skidding knives, which are going to be for hides, obviously, butcher's cleaver, which gets meat and bones, and a sickle for plant fiber. And these are all going to be much more efficient than, a pickaxe or a hatchet or whatnot. And a couple random things. Swimming is kind of buffed. When you get into water, you stay on the surface unless you dive, and it was shared that a one-hand spear can attack underwater. I didn't know that. Not sure if it's new or not. Also, there's a new stats screen. You can kind of actually see numbers now when you equip different weapons, when you upgrade your stats, your actual attributes, when you unlock milestones. These stat numbers are actually going to change, so you can sort of compare, contrast, and really do some theory crafting. Modding is also something they said they wanted, but don't have the resources for at the moment. And they kind of snuck in, I'm not sure what this is, but a teaser. They say that this load screen right here has some kind of secret in it. I haven't looked at it too hard, but looks kind of cool. And last but not least, bracelets now glow. So if you die at night, you can just find your body instead of your stuff despawning and going miserable. Alright guys, well that's the entire developer blog. I don't think I left anything out. The video was like an hour and 20, so I tried to get as much out as I could. Feel free to ask any questions and look for the follow-up. I'm going to be grabbing the attribute screenshots out of the video and trying to get as much information on them as I can to try to predict sort of what the new meta is going to be, or what the best things, or what looks overpowered. That video should be out fairly soon because I do have some free time right now. So that said, be sure to throw me a like, subscribe if you can, and stay tuned for more.